Hi, Victoria Ballard, naturopath. And more about allergies. Some people here are finding that they are getting allergic symptoms and they don't know what it is. And you can do a kind of sort of trial and error, just dropping the things that you suspect, but you have to drop them for at least 2 weeks before you can be sure that those were the cause of your symptoms. So rather than spend months and months finding out what you're actually allergic to, it's better to do an elimination diet, as I've said before. And really, it's quite unusual for people to be allergic to eggs, so I'm thinking that the vegetarians might try an elimination diet. It's only for 2 weeks of eating just eggs, cooked in butter or ghee or coconut oil, or not cooked at all. If you want to be absolutely certain of everything, like you could just have them hard boiled. Doesn't sound very appetizing, but it's only for 2 weeks. So once you've done the elimination diet for 2 weeks, then you can start adding the foods. So if you're symptom-free, I'm assuming that I'm talking not just to the vegetarians, but to those that can do the full elimination diet, which is ruminant meat. Do it for at least 2 weeks. It has been advised to do it for 3 months, but not everyone's willing to do it for 3 months. But 2 weeks is the absolute minimum to get rid of the symptoms. So once the symptoms have gone away, you can be sure that that was what was causing the problem. Now you can start to add back the other foods and see what happens. There could be more than one food that you're allergic to. So, as I say, add them back one by one every 2 weeks. 2 weeks is the sort of minimum, really. Dr. Berry says try carnivore for three months, 90 days. Give it the 90-day trial. I mean, if you are not averse to eating meat, 3 months on carnivore, I mean, it completely got rid of all my symptoms. And I hoped I was going to get away with it, in that when I come to India, I don't stick to carnivore because obviously this is a vegetarian country. Both the Muslims do eat some meat, but the Hindus don't really eat any, but they do eat eggs. So I'm dealing more with vegetarians here because they choose to be vegetarian, not only when they're in India, but when they're back in their own countries. If they go back to their own countries, there's quite a few people now live in India full time. So, for vegetarians and omnivores, 2 weeks is your minimum. 3 months would be absolutely ideal because you'd be clearing your system totally from the toxins, and you could be absolutely sure that you're finding the allergens, which of course can be environmental. That's the problem. It isn't just diet. I mean, it could be cleaning products. I'm very careful what I use for cleaning products, and I advise you to. There's really cheap white vinegar and bicarbonate of soda that will clean just about anything. Windows, a tiny bit of vinegar and some water, and use newspaper, and it really cleans up the glass and the mirrors, and you know, you can be absolutely certain that you're not allergic to anything in your home. But I would say that as you add the foods back in, give them each 2 weeks. And if you're still feeling fine, then get to the next food. It depends how diverse you want your diet to be. Quite honestly, when I'm in England, I'm happy to eat just meat. Different kinds of meats, fish. I do eat butter and cheese and ghee. And I'm not completely carnivore because I use coconut oil and MCT oil, medium chain triglyceride oil. You've probably heard about it. It's supposed to go, it's been found to go straight to the liver to release all the ketones to the brain pretty much instantaneously. In the bulletproof coffee, you can add the MCT oil to your morning coffee. You can also add some coconut oil. That is also, it's got fantastic properties that are really good for the brain. So I don't keep myself so carnivore that I don't use these additional oils. But I don't find that I want to try tons of different vegetables and fruit, and I'm really satisfied with the meat diet and the wonderful feeling of not having to restrict your calories and to eat till you're full. I mean, there's just so much to recommend the carnivore diet. And it was the carnivore diet that I did almost accidentally. I could only eat once a day in Mexico because it was so hot. And I chose to eat meat because that fills me up more than carbs. Some people find carbs filling. I don't. I find meat very satisfying. So I was doing just mornings before it got hot, just eating beef, and it was really great. It was called New York Durez. It was New York steak, which is so much nicer than anything we get in the UK. A nice lot of fat on the meat, but really delicious meat. So I was quite happy, and I am quite happy when I'm in England, staying totally carnivore, and it gets rid of all my symptoms. However, when I come to India, I get away with it for weeks and weeks and weeks, sometimes months. The last time I got away with it for 4 months without any symptoms returning. But this time, well, I indulged in as a special celebration of Pongal, which is a mixture of jaggery, which is cane sugar, raisins, cashews, rice and dal, lentils. So that's all cooked and cooked and cooked for hours and hours and hours, and then they do a ceremony over it. And then, you eat it. I mean, it's not part of the ceremony if you don't eat it. And I got quite a reaction from the sugar. So I'm now having to be a bit more careful here in India. I'm asking everyone that cooks for me to cook with either butter or ghee. I could get some coconut oil to add to my coffee. And I'm going to have to bite the bullet and stop eating all the rice. And you see, the vegetables are cooked in peanut oil. I can't get away with that. I don't want to even try to get away with that anymore. I'm going to carry my coconut oil around with me and suggest that I pay a bit more and they cook either with the coconut oil or ghee. And everyone's got ghee. I mean, they pour ghee over the rice, so there's no reason why they can't cook with ghee. So yes, I'm going to have to be more careful. I do have allergies, And I think everyone's allergic to sugar, actually. I don't think I'm particularly alone in that sugar messes up my digestion like nobody's business. And of course, causes dysbiosis in the intestines, the intestinal flora, starts to crave sugar and sweet stuff and carbohydrates. And in fact, if you cut these things out, the body starts to crave healthy foods, and you get rid of these cravings and allergies. So it's worth giving it a try. So instead of doing it piecemeal, like, I'll give up that and see how I feel, give up this, see how I feel, do an elimination diet. And if you want any help from me, I'm more than happy to supervise an elimination diet. I've got an email address that I put in the comments and the description, and I don't charge. I mean, I'm here in India, I've got all the time in the world, and it's a timeless zone, so by all means just email me if you want any advice on allergy detection. And I really do suggest you do it, because there is a cycle that the allergens are a stress. The stress causes cortisol. The cortisol causes lots of glucose production. The glucose production causes the insulin resistance. And the insulin resistance means there's yet more glucose around in the bloodstream. And then the signals from the fat cells, because there's more fat cells, because the glucose has got to go somewhere. And where does it go? It goes to fat. And even if you can't see it, the fat is around the organs. So the fat cells then talk to the hypothalamus. And if there's too many fat cells and the hypothalamus is getting too many messages, then you get leptin resistance as well, which means you never feel full. You're always hungry, even after you've eaten a whole load of food, and you crave naughty foods, I call them. And I have been naughty, and I thought I could get away with it, but I haven't been able to get away with it. So I'm now with you all on this, in that I'm being very careful with my diet now, even though this is my sort of holiday from dieting, where I usually eat like lots of lovely Indian food. Well, I will continue to eat some of the rice flour products. I might even eat some of the millet flour products, but I should be very, very careful with grains. I should be very careful with grains. I should be very careful with seed and peanut oil. They love peanut oil here. And all the seed oils. So no more seed oils, no more sugar, hardly any grains, certainly not wheat. And I'm now joining you all in the journey to a healthier way of losing weight. I mean, it's really important. Health comes first. Weight comes off as an adjunct. It's just something that goes hand in hand with health. A healthy body usually finds its most stable weight, and then you're very unlikely to lose more weight than is ideal for you. Whatever you do on these diets, you're likely to stay at a stasis. Once it's reached your body's ideal weight, you're not going to keep on losing weight and look really skinny. So no reason not to do an allergy elimination diet, and I'm wishing you all the best and hope it works out well for you. I mean, 2 weeks is not very long, goes by very quickly, and if you can go longer, do so. Okay, thanks for listening, and I keep forgetting to ask you, would you mind subscribing? You know, it would be really great if you just click a subscribe. And a like if you like it, and comments. I love comments. I like to hear what people are thinking and what they want to know about. And sometimes I hear of amazing amount of weight being lost in a very short period of time, which is great when it happens. Don't ever be afraid of losing weight too quickly. That's not true, that we should lose weight slowly and steadily. Losing weight rapidly actually has been scientifically proven to be more sustainable. You're more likely to keep the weight off than if you lose it slowly. So, best of luck with your elimination diets, and I hope you don't find that you've got too many allergens that you've got to cut out. So best of luck. Bye-bye.